Good morning.
How are you?
All right, and yourself?
Can you see clearly now the rain is gone?
No, these are still old.
Oh my God. What happened?
Well, it takes about, I went last week, so it takes about 2 weeks for them to get the lenses. I don't know where they come from, but
See, you're not walking into walls or nothing, right?
I just have to squint like Mr. Magoo.
Oh my God. Make the font bigger. Just make the font bigger on everything you look at.
But you know what, though? When you do that, then you got to do a whole bunch of moving around and
You do.
mm,
You do. You're absolutely correct. You do. It's a lot. Well, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging. I'm well.
Okay.
I'm well. I have my moments, but for the
All
most
right.
part, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. Good morning, Natasha. Wait, let me see. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome. All right. Good morning, Tanika. Look at y'all coming in. All right. All right. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in the room. Come on in the room, as Miss Tabitha Brown would say. All right. All right. Yes. Okay, I'm glad we're not blocking your little your sign. We was blocking the sign, but it's not blocking now. So yay. Okay. I love it. I love that whole brown wooden aesthetic that you have going on. Come on
I don't
now.
even know how I found it, but
It's beautiful. I love it.
thank you.
I pay attention to detail like that. Like, wait a minute,
Right.
hold up. Yes. We are here. All right, all right. Oh, we got a lot to talk about today. Well, welcome to our Saturday morning tea. Here we brew up the hottest topics in healthcare. We discuss health information, news, education, the aesthetics, um, bumping in the walls and being able to see,
Mm,
certification tips and entrepreneurship, and actually the revenue cycle at large. And it's a lot happening in the revenue cycle these days. So as you come in, don't forget to hit the thumbs up or like button so that we can generate more eyeballs on these topics. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, the founder and senior education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, where coding education is key. PRN is a healthcare compliance consultancy located in Cincinnati, Ohio, that specializes in revenue cycle and regulatory compliance in education. Now, let me ask you, do you know what it takes to be a certified, marketable medical coder? Well, if you've been watching us by now, you should. But if you don't, before I introduce my co host, let me share with you information on a free, yes, free, ain't a lot of things free nowadays, but free email course on the 5 steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start and scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder. Oh, I'm sorry. I get carried away. If you are interested in getting more information about the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder, check the video description for the link. Joining me today is my partner in success, my co host, Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark. Put some respect on his name, the coding nurse.
before the introduction,
Okay, wait, hold on.
don't put me on the big screen. I got a nasty cold sore.
Yes, sir.
Just let me introduce myself from here. I don't want to frighten the people on a Saturday.
Boy, we starting it out with a bang, aren't we? The coding nurse. Sir, introduce yourself and tell the folks all about you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia. I'm battling a cold sore at the moment. Um, I have been in healthcare for a long time, left the bedside in 2014 and pivoted into risk adjustment coding during 2020. During the pandemic in 2020, I created a company, the Coding Nurse LLC, where I help nurses and other people with a clinical background transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
That's what I saw. I was asking, had you been running in the walls? Like, what happened? I saw that, and I was like, bless your heart.
I can tell you what it is in one word: stress.
Sir.
We'll talk about it.
Okay. Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay. All right. Well, before we jump in, let me remind you that you can join in and add to the conversation. So don't be shy. Come on, let's talk about it. Your opinion matters and is welcomed here. So friends, please use the chat. If you have a question, please type Q first so that we know it is a question for us and we don't miss it. So for those who are just joining us or watching the replay, today we are talking United Healthcare's new Excludes One policy, what coders need to know right now. I wanted to say UHC is busting out the gate. That's what I wanted to say. Look, they in trouble, so they gonna make y'all be in trouble. That's what I want to say.
Misery loves company.
Misery loves company. That's what it needs to say. But I'll be politically correct. But first, let's get into our church announcements. Hey. And we're upon the birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
The reason for the season.
The reason for the season. Come on now. Come on. I fix my co-host. Oh, yes. Oh, you got the claps. Yes. Yes. All right. I know we're doing way too much today. All right. Oh, that one way down. Okay. So I don't even hear anything in my ear. All right. So today's announcement. If you've been preparing, if you're a HEMA member and you've been preparing for the 40% HEMA CEU requirement that was set to take effect in January 2026, well, you can take a whole deep breath. HEMA has announced that this requirement will not be implemented in January and remains on hold indefinitely. So what does this mean for you? It means there's no immediate change to your current CEU requirements. HEMA has committed to sharing updates well in advance before any changes take effect, so you won't be caught off guard. And if you have specific questions about your individual certification, maintenance, or CEU requirements, I encourage you to reach out directly to HEMA for guidance. Let's see. What else did I see? AAPC news. Oh, I saw something. I didn't write it down though. They're doing kind of like a town hall thing too. There's something that they have coming up next week or the following week. There's something going on at AAPC. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'll let y'all know next week. But there's something coming up with them. And I think it's kind of a town hall thing like HEMA has. I know they were having like these Facebook meetings regularly, but I think they're doing something a little more formal. I'll keep y'all posted on that. Mr. Jesse, you have any church announcements?
I was supposed to start a coding class this month, but I didn't get any interest. But I have a couple people who are interested in starting in February, so I haven't announced the date yet. But once I figure it out, I will be making an announcement.
All right, hot off the press. Look for February. So if you are interested in getting information on ICD-10 CM coding, is that what you normally start with? you trying to get a deeper dive, if you are looking at, and while he does market to clinicians, everybody who's a coder needs to know about ICD-10. So check out your boy. Go to his website and sign up. Get the information. Reach out to him. Talk to him. Find out if this is for you. All right. Okay, let me turn the music on. And get rid of the banner. All right, we ready. Let's see who's in here. Good morning, Crafty Coder. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
All right. So I think we're good. Everything's everything. Can I see everything I need to see? See, I'm like. So let the tea spilling begin. Welcome back to the Saturday Morning Tea, where we serve up the real talk our profession needs. I'm Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, with my partner in success, the coding nurse. And we are so glad you're here with us today. So I hope you got your favorite cup of tea, coffee, hot chocolate, adult beverage, whatever it is that you need for this morning. What do I got today? I have my blueberry hibiscus ginger turmeric tea. It smells so good. Ready to go. Because good morning, Dr. Jasmine. Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations on your new role.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. So because we have a serious conversation about something that's about to impact every single medical coder, CDI specialist, and HI professional working with United Healthcare Medicare Advantage claims. Actually, I believe, be on the lookout for all kinds of foolishness coming from Medicare Advantage organizations this year. Just be on the lookout, because when one starts, they all follow suit. Whew. Now, before you think, oh no, here comes another policy update that's going to complicate my life, let me say this. Knowledge is power. And when we understand what's really happening, and when we look past the surface and get to the heart of the guidelines, it can all be so simple. And that's what we're doing today. So starting February 1st, that's just a couple of weeks away, United Healthcare Medicare Advantage is enforcing ICD-10 Excludes 1 rules for inpatient claims. And by March 1st, they're expanding this foolishness. They're expanding this enforcement. Did I say foolishness? I'm sorry. To all claim types, outpatient and professional services. Now you might be saying, Clarice, Excludes 1 rules are already part of the ICD-10 We've been following them for years. What's the big deal? And you're right to ask that question, because I asked that question. Because here's where it gets interesting. Dr. James Kennedy from the RAC Monitor published an analysis that exposes what United Healthcare isn't telling us, and it's a game changer. So today, we're going to break down what this policy really means, the critical exception UHC left out, and real-world examples that will protect your claims, and 3 strategic pivots you need to make right now. You know, we're always about making sure you know what to do going forward. Next week. All right. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about following rules. This is about protecting revenue, supporting quality metrics, and positioning yourself as the expert your organization cannot live without. So let's get into it. All right, let's start with the basics. And Mr. Jesse, jump in. What exactly is United Healthcare saying? Well, in their January 2026 reimbursement policy update bulletin, which is a whole doozy. Oh, actually, next week, we're going to talk about another one of these little foolish policies they got going on. But anyway, UHC announced that they're enhancing their diagnosis code requirement policy. They're consolidating multiple diagnosis-related policies into one unified framework, and they're emphasizing adherence to ICD-10 Excludes 1 coding rules. Now, UHC defines Excludes 1 as, quote, not coded here, end quote. And they say that an excludes one note indicates that the excluded note should never be used at the same time as the code above it. They give examples like a congenital form versus an acquired form of the same condition. These cannot occur together, so they cannot be coded together. We on the same page there. We get it. We understand. On the surface, this sounds perfectly reasonable, right? It aligns with what we learned when we transitioned to ICD-10-CM. Excludes one means mutually exclusive. Don't use both codes. But here's where USC's policy is incomplete. And this is where we need to pay very close attention. The fiscal year 2026 ICD-10-CM official guidelines for coding and reporting, again, the guidelines that HIPAA requires all covered entities to follow, these guidelines contain a critical exception. And I'm going to read that directly from the guidelines because it's that important. An exception to the excludes one definition is the circumstance when the two conditions are unrelated to each other. Let me say that again. When two conditions are unrelated to each other, you can report both codes even if they have an excludes one relationship. UHC's policy doesn't acknowledge this exception. And that means we're facing a wave of denials that are actually incorrect according to the official ICD-10-CM guidelines. Now, I want you to understand something. This isn't about UHC being intentionally difficult. They got all kinds of other problems happening over there. I truly believe healthcare compliance could be so much clearer if payers and providers work together with a full understanding of the guidelines. But when policies are incomplete, when critical exceptions are left out, that's when we get inappropriate denials, lost revenue, and frustrated coders. So our job, your job, is to understand not just the rule, but the exception, and to know how to defend your work. So let me give you a real-world example straight from the ICD-10-CM guidelines that makes this crystal clear. Look at code F45.8, which is other somatoform disorders. Under F45.8, there's an excludes one note for G47.63, which is sleep-related teeth grinding. According to the excludes one rule, you shouldn't use F45.8 and G47.63 together, right? The note says not coded here. But here's the thing. F45.8 includes psychogenic dysmenorrhea as one of its inclusion terms. So what if you have a patient with psychogenic dysmenorrhea and sleep-related teeth grinding? These are two completely separate, unrelated conditions. The ICD-10-CM guidelines explicitly state the two conditions are clearly unrelated to each other, and so it would be appropriate to report F45.8 and G47.63 together. Again, this is the exception, and it's not some obscure loophole, friends. No, it's not. This is official guidance that all covered entities are required to follow under HIPAA. Let me give you more examples from the American Health Association, or AHA, coding clinic, because these are the official interpretations we rely on. Example one, a patient has anemia due to atenoplastic chemotherapy. I know I butchered that word, which is code D64.81. This patient also has myeloid leukemia codes from category C92. Now, category D64 has an excludes one note for C92. But Coding Clinic third quarter 2021 tells us that these are separate, unrelated conditions. The anemia was caused by the chemotherapy, not the leukemia itself. So both codes can and should be reported together. Example number two, a patient has a cerebral infarction in the right carotid artery, code I63.231. This same patient has an occlusion and stenosis of the left carotid artery, code I65.22. Now, category I-65 has an excludes one note for all I-63.0 through I-63.2 codes. But Coding Clinic, third quarter 2020 says that since the stenosis of the left carotid was unrelated to the cerebral infarction involving the right carotid, both codes can be reported. Do you see the pattern here? So, when conditions are clinically unrelated, when they're happening in different locations, caused by different mechanisms, involving different body systems, the excludes one rule doesn't apply. And this is where UHC's policy creates problems because if they're automatically denying any claims where both an excludes code and the code above it are reported, they're going to deny legitimate claims, claims that follow official guidelines, claims that accurately represent the patient's condition. This is where we're going to get in trouble. The documentation dilemma. So now here's where you're always come back to the documentation. Here's where your CDI teams come into play. And if you're a coder who hasn't worked closely with CDI yet, this might be the perfect opportunity to build that partnership. The ICD-10-CM guidelines gives us that beautiful exception. When conditions are unrelated, both can be coded. But the guidelines also tell us this: if it is not clear whether the two conditions involving an excludes one note are related or not, query the provider.
Can
Come on.
I've been waiting to jump in.
You should have been jumped in.
No. Because when you first said F45.8, I smiled because can I tell you, in my class, that's the first code that I discuss.
Okay.
And for that very reason, but I really use it because it's to me, it's the perfect example of what NEC means.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I use that, and I use like I-50.9 for NOS, like not otherwise specified. But anyway, documentation is that I really think that in health information management, that is the most underrated word ever.
And it's what we have. It's like our tool. It's the tool in order for us to do the work we need to do. Period.
And as you know, I currently work in DRG validation, and I can tell you that the documentation is horrible. Horrible. All caps, underscore, bold, and italic. It's bad out here. And there is, of course, like you could kind of, well, the only thing that I don't like is it says automatic. So what that says to me is that says nobody's ever going to read it. It's going to be done by AI first.
Probably. They're going to put in some type of algorithm that will automatically flag when you see them, and boom, it's going to kick out. So it's going to leave a whole bunch of stuff on the back end.
And then even if you have supportive documentation, or even if the documentation is clearly documented in the record already, nobody's going to ever see it to even, so that's going to lead to appeals on the facility side, and it's just going to create more of a problem, because that's the only thing I don't like. I mean, if they were saying that they were going to tighten up and they were going to, be flagged for further review, I could see that. I clearly could see that. But to say that the only thing that throws me is automatic, because anything that says automatic nowadays, it's an algorithm, and nobody's ever going to see it. That's the only thing I don't like. But the documentation just has to improve overall, because I just don't even know what is going to happen to HIM, period, because I can tell you some of the things that I see on a daily basis should have never left a facility. I mean, PDXs that are not even documented. Like, I'm like, where did this come from? Like, did anybody read the chart? And the answer is no.
I have so many questions. So many questions. So many questions. Let me keep going though. Oh goodness. All right.
Well, at
So
least ask one. Go ahead, ask
all
one.
right. All right. So the CFOs and the organizations are crying about the loss of revenue and the fleecing of healthcare in America. But they're not turning to the source of the fleece. They're not turning to the source that can actually help them capture and retain and keep and make the money that they're looking to make. Your providers and their documentation is one question. Why are they not enforcing or having these difficult, crucial conversations with those who provide the tools that the coders and CDI and all the people in health information are using? We've been saying that for decades. Why are they turning a blind eye? But then when want to shift the blame or shift the responsibility to health information. Yeah, we can come in and 10 toes down, get with the providers. However, somebody has to make them accountable. Somebody has to enforce that. That somebody is, in most cases, not us. We don't have hold their purse strings. We know what gets folks' heads turning, that coin. We can't control that coin. They can. But then the bigger coin is being impacted. Second, I know we have some wonderful coders out there, experienced, certified coders out there, but I'm gonna need y'all to step up because I feel like some of this is a coder issue as well. Like, are y'all not reading the note? Are you? What do y'all? What's happening with our coding?
I definitely think that part of the problem, well, actually, it's just what you said. It needs to, they need to tackle this from the top down, but also the problem with these facilities is productivity.
I was coming to that. That was the other thing, because coders don't have time to breathe. Do y'all get an opportunity to even, take a restroom break? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's so productivity, so production led and driven that is driving folks crazy and causing mistakes that shouldn't happen. When you have time to make sure that all I's are dotted and T's are crossed, then you can safely and confidently say, I did my job here. With productivity, and you got to get this and churn it. Can you really safely, confidently say, I did everything I need to do for that claim? Probably not. I did what I needed to do to get it out the damn door. That's what you did. That's not coding. That's not what we come from. That's not the stock we come from. And it's not our fault. Again, it goes back to these organizations and all of these productivity rules. Go ahead. I'm sorry. See, I got on the soapbox.
I did a claim this week. It had 4 CCs. I invalidated all 4 CCs just based off of documentation. One was ruled out. All you had to do was read.
And reading is fundamental.
The second one was what gets hung, it bites providers all the time, because yes, you can report chronic conditions, but an inpatient, that chronic condition has to have some form of meat. You have to have had to do something for it. Mm-hmm. One got ruled out because it said clearly that the person was for moderate severe depression recurrent, but they're not on any medication, and didn't receive any medication and treatment. So that was 2. The last 2 were not even documented anywhere. And do you know the time it takes to have to validate all of that?
It takes time.
Plus the principal diagnosis? It
takes time. That unfortunately nobody wants to give up, which is crazy work to me. Crazy foolishness. I mean, it ain't like folks be sitting around kicked back trying to, what? No, you have to dig into these records, especially in inpatient. Oh my God. It takes some time to do some outpatient, but inpatient, a 10-day stay, Hell, a 3-day stay gonna take some time if it's complicated. You would think you would want your skilled professionals to have the time to do the job that they need to do. She's so silly. You would think. You
But
would
you
think.
know what though? But honestly, Dr. Jasmine, the level of productivity that they have to work under, they don't have time. All
And
they
there's
do is they go by what's documented and they read the discharge summary and that's it. Like, but you have to do a deeper dive. Now, if you know, I just don't understand how. And the discharge summary is not even as reliable because everything is cut and pasted. It's nothing but the H&P 3 days later or however long that they were in the hospital. That's all it is.
so then you got to take the time to go through to validate the discharge summary, because if it's
Oh,
the
you
same thing
do.
as the H&P,
You do.
it's not telling the story of what happened during this day. And that was what the discharge summary was supposed to do: summarize all the things that happened in this day. So you didn't necessarily have to go back and look at every little piece of documentation. But if it's not doing that, what's it's
And another problem that I can tell you is policy. Because the one thing's for certain, two things for sure. I have worked on both sides. And when I tell you every time I've had an audit or auditor role, they have policy up the wazoo. It's like this thick.
Mm.
When you work for the facility, ain't no policy. Oh, it's everything is UHDDS. Everything is the coding guidelines. No, 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 no. You have to have clinical validation rules. You have to, because this is why there's so many denials.
And when they come back or when you appealing, what you standing on? Our policy, yes, there is some guidance. You got the guidelines, but what does your organization's policy say about how you use and enforce these guidelines? That's what they're looking for.
Because those, when I tell you, when I get finished with some of these claims, like that DRG weight looks like it's on Wegovy. It gets slashed like this, like that.
Oh my God.
It looks awfully light at the end.
Yes, that's what it is. They would rather you do it fast instead of do it right. Let's get ready to write an article on that. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let me ask you another question. And I want you to really think about this. How prepared is your CDI team to identify the excludes one scenarios in real time? Are they equipped to query physicians about whether two conditions are related or unrelated before claims go out the door?
So I just let me just interject.
Go.
The answer is no, because if you don't know coding, you don't even know what is what.
You're gonna make me spit my tea out, please, sir.
No.
Because here's what's about to happen starting February 1st. If your CDI team doesn't catch these situations, if they don't query for clarification, and if the documentation doesn't explicitly show that two conditions are unrelated, UHC is going to deny those claims. And then you're in appeal mode. You're scrambling to get additional documentation from providers. You're citing coding clinic. You're fighting for revenue that should have been paid in the first place. Friends, it doesn't have to be this way. We can get ahead of this. Here's what needs to happen. First, your CDI specialist needs to be educated on the excludes one exception. They need to know it exists. They need to understand how to apply clinical reasoning to determine if conditions are related or unrelated, and they need to be empowered to query. Second, you need query templates. Make it easy for your CDI team. Create pre-approved templates that say something like, Dr. Smith, the patient has both acute myocardial infarction and non-ischemic myocardial injury. These diagnoses have an excludes one relationship in ICD-10-CM. Are these conditions clinically related to each other, or are they separate, unrelated diagnoses? Please clarify in your documentation. Third, educate your physicians. I know they're busy. Hell, who's not? But you know what? A 15-minute lunch and learn where you show them 3 real examples of how their documentation prevents denials. That's time well spent. Make it practical. Show them the financial impact. Invite the CFO. Give them smart phrases they can drop into their notes. These conditions are clinically unrelated, or the patient's diabetes is independent of their acute pneumonia. Now, let me ask you another critical question. Are your encoder and CDI software tools flagging potential excludes one conflicts? If they are, that's great. But are they also alerting you to the exception when conditions are unrelated? Most encoders will flag the excludes one relationship. They'll give you a warning, but they won't apply clinical judgment. They can't tell you whether a patient's hypertension is related to their fractured hip. That's still on you. That's still human expertise. Remember, we talked all about what the machines are doing. You still need some humans to do some things as well. And here's the financial piece we absolutely cannot ignore. How will this impact your risk adjustment scores and quality metrics? If UHC removes diagnosis codes that were legitimately reported, you're not just losing claim payment, you're losing HCC captures. You're losing risk adjustment revenue. See, it's a game out here. Your quality scores could take a hit. This isn't just about one claim getting paid or denied. This is about the entire revenue cycle, quality reporting, and your organization's financial health. UHC is not playing out here. Somebody done thought this through because they got their own problems. As Mr. Jesse said, misery loves company. This is proactive coding compliance. This is how we protect revenue before claims ever leave the building. And let me be clear, this isn't just about UHC. If UHC is enforcing this aggressively, other payers will follow. They always do. So we need to get ahead of this trend now. Okay, so we've established that when conditions are unrelated, both excludes one codes can be reported. But what about when they are related? And if two conditions really can't coexist? Then you have to choose which code to report. And here's where it gets a little nuanced. According to Coding Clinic fourth quarter 2018, pages 87 and 88, the code listed next to the excludes one note is generally preferred over the code above it. But, and this is important, there are exceptions to this preference. Exception 1, sometimes there are bidirectional excludes one notes. Both codes exclude each other. In this case, you have to use your clinical judgment and coding expertise to decide which one best describes the patient's condition. Exception number 2, the code above the excludes one note might better describe the patient's circumstances. Coding Clinic second quarter 2019 gives examples where the more specific or more clinically relevant code should be used, even if it's the one above the excludes one note. Exception 3, the code above might be more acute. If one code represents an acute condition and the excludes one code represents a chronic or less specific condition, you report the acute code. Exception 4, the code above might be the underlying cause, and the excludes one code might be a symptom. In that case, you would report the underlying cause. Now, here's my question for you. Mr. Jesse, you done already answered this. Does your organization have a written code policy that addresses these scenarios? Probably not. So if the answer is no, that's your homework. Because UHC denies a claim and you appeal it, you need to show that your coding followed not just general guidelines, but your organization's documented, compliance-approved policies that incorporate official guidance. You need to be able to say, didn't we just say this? Our policy, which was reviewed and approved by our compliance committee, states that when excludes one codes are clinically unrelated, Both shall be reported per ICD-10 CM guidelines, section 1A12A. Here is our documentation showing these conditions are unrelated. Here is the coding clinic reference supporting our position. That's how you win appeals. That's how you protect your revenue. Now, I know we've been talking about challenges, complications, and things you need to do. So let me shift gears for a moment. Let us breathe and share some genuinely good news about where this is all heading. So the CDC's ICD-10-CM Coordination and Maintenance Committee is actively converting many Excludes 1 notes to Excludes 2 notes. Remember, they have their meeting coming up in March. We talked about that last week. Excludes 2 is much more flexible. It means not included here, which indicates that the condition excluded is not part of the condition represented by the code, but a patient may have both conditions at the same time. So when you see an Excludes 2 note, it's perfectly acceptable to use both codes together when appropriate. So over time, this is going to get easier. The coding classification itself is evolving to be more clinically realistic. Let me give you a concrete example. If you're coding a patient with both type 2 diabetes and diabetic complications, you want to make sure you're checking whether there's an Excludes 1 or Excludes 2 relationship. The more the CDC converts these to Excludes 2, the less we have to worry about whether conditions are related or unrelated. We can report them both when clinically appropriate. And here's another piece of good news. When there are conflicting Excludes 1 and Excludes 2 notes in the ICD-10-CM tabular list, meaning one place says Excludes 1 and another says Excludes 2 for the same codes. Yes, we have those in there. The Excludes 2 note prevails. That's official guidance from Coding Clinic 4th quarter 2017, pages 108 and 109. So we have tools. We have official guidance. We have a classification that's improving. And here's another silver lining that I don't want you to miss. This policy update is actually forcing us to level up our coding skills. Organizations that invest in coder education right now, that build strong CDI coder partnerships, that create defensible policies, they're going to be the ones who weather this storm successfully. Did Mr. Jesse just say he's starting a ICD-10 class in February? Y'all better get yourselves in that class. All right. They're also going to be the organizations that and reach out to your employer. They have dollars to help you get your professional development. All right. They're also going to be the organizations that attract and retain top talent, because coders want to work in places where they're supported, educated, and empowered to do excellent work. And what we need now is education, preparation, and advocacy. And that's exactly where we're going to talk about next. Mr. Jesse, you want to jump in?
It could all be so simple. And
you're going to make this spit this out for real.
And the thing about the part that is so, once again, having worked both sides, the part that is so frustrating for me is that having been on the CDI side, that is one of the easiest positions you can have, because you have the one thing that a lot of coders don't have, and that's time. You follow that person from their admission to their discharge. If somebody's in a hospital for 5 days, why are you waiting until after discharge to query? Because you don't know. It's right there. You have seen that. You have read these notes at least, like you followed the patient at least 2 or 3 times. And that's all part of how you do your job. Like you see what's going on. You read the notes. You see what this specialty is saying. You see that they said they consulted. So if it's still not clear, you send a query while the person is still in the hospital.
And bigger than that, you know these damn providers. You know what they do. You know how they document. You know what's you got. You should have a list, a running list of the repeat offenders. Have them conversations.
But they are so worried about, because they're so worried about query fatigue,
Fatigue.
and they don't want
What about our documentation fatigue?
exactly. And then, well, that's not. Well, I wouldn't query for that. Or then you have people who, like, I remember one time, like now they talk about. So you have these people who don't think that you should query anything that an ER doctor documents. But if the person is admitted to the hospital, that's part of the record. If they have made a diagnosis and it's not carried through, you still have to query whether it's valid or not. And then, I had my manager tell me that I sent a query that wasn't valid because it was from the ER. It wasn't a differential diagnosis. It was a diagnosis. I get it's not, you don't query differential diagnoses because they're not conclusive. But if they write it in the assessment, and then I can also tell you as an auditor, most acute respiratory failure cases get overturned because of ER documentation. Nobody's going in the H&P, nobody's going to have a pulse ox of 75 because they're already stable in the ED, but they came to the ED with accessory muscle usage, dyspnea, confusion, had to be put on high flow. It was emergent.
They're telling you exactly how the patient
Right.
presented, which is why all of these different things were required.
And
Yeah.
can I
And
tell
they're
you,
going to stabilize them as best they can to get them to the next level of service.
and every acute respiratory failure case I've ever overturned was because of ER documentation, how they presented. So how is that not valid? But this is the stuff that you have to deal with on the inpatient side.
Whew. All right, friends, let's get practical. I've identified 3 strategic pivots that every medical coder needs to make right now. And each pivot, I'm going to give you 3 actionable steps you can start this week. You know how we do. To get your paper ready. Pivot 1, master the excludes one exception rule. Listen, as healthcare becomes more automated, as payer implement AI-driven claim reviews, your human expertise becomes your competitive advantage. Technology will flag excludes violations, but will it recognize the unrelated conditions exception? Not always, not without human judgment. That's where you come in. This is why mastering this exception isn't just nice to have, it's essential to your career security, helping you be marketable. All right. Actionable step 1, deep dive the guidelines. Go to fiscal year 2026 ICD-10 CM official guidelines. You can download them for free from cms.gov. Print pages 13 and 14, which covers section IA12A. About 1A12A, about excludes notes. Highlight the exception language. Keep this at your workstation and reference it every single day until it becomes second nature. Actionable step number 2, create a personal reference library. Start a spreadsheet or digital file of coding clinic examples where excludes one codes were appropriately reported together. I mentioned several today. Third quarter 2021, page 4. Third quarter 2020, pages 28 through 29. Fourth quarter 2018, pages 87 through 88. You can always come back and rewind this video. Organize these by body system. So when you're coding and you encounter an excludes one situation, you can quickly find precedent. Make this your go-to resource. Actionable step 3, practice clinical reasoning. This week, I want you to review 10 inpatient charts. For example, find some, have AI create you some. There are all kinds of ways to get some. For each one, identify any excludes relationships between the diagnosis codes. Then document whether those conditions are related or unrelated using your clinical knowledge. And I just dropped a gem, but I digress. And the documentation in the chart. Share your reasoning with your CDI team or your coding supervisor. This calibrates your thinking and builds confidence. It also shows leadership that you're taking initiative. Pivot number 2, become a documentation champion. Here's the reality. When conditions are unrelated, your documentation must explicitly show this. Vague documentation will result in denials that are much harder to appeal. But when you champion clear documentation on the front end, you prevent problems down the line. So, actionable step 1, develop query templates. Work with your CDI team and your compliance department to create pre-approved query templates specifically for Excludes 1 scenarios. Make them easy to use. Have them readily available in your CDI workflow tool or query software. The template should ask clearly, are these conditions clinically related to each other, or are they separate, unrelated diagnoses? Actionable step 2, partner with physicians. This month, I want you to schedule a 15-minute education session with your top 3 admitting physicians. Show them real examples, preferably from coding clinic, where documenting that conditions were unrelated prevented claim denials. Make it practical, make it brief, and make it about protecting revenue and quality scores. Physicians respond to that. They want to help. They just need to understand what we need and why. And then it trickles down. And it will trickle down. I would also recommend get somebody from, if your CFO can't attend, make sure you get somebody from the financial world in those meetings so they can hear that information as well. Actionable step number 3, build smart phrases. Work with your EHR team to create documentation shortcuts that physicians can use. Phrases like, these conditions are clinically unrelated, or the patient's condition A is independent of condition B. Make compliance easy for busy providers. When we remove barriers and build helpful tools, documentation improves naturally. Pivot number 3, position yourself as the compliance expert. As payers become more aggressive, as AI automates initial claim reviews, organizations desperately need human experts who understand the nuances, who can appeal effectively, and who protect revenue. This is your opportunity to become indispensable. Actionable step number 1, create an internal policy. Draft a 1-page Excludes 1 coding policy for your organization. Include the exception rule, reference official guidelines and coding clinic, and outline your appeal process. Get it approved by your compliance committee or HIM director. This becomes your shield when claims are denied. It shows that your organization made informed, documented decisions based on official guidance. Actionable step 2, track and trend denials. Starting right now, today, if possible, create a tracking log of UHC Excludes 1 denial your organization receives. Document the codes involved, whether they were related or unrelated according to clinical documentation, the appeal outcome, and the financial impact. Present this data to leadership quarterly. When you show up with data, you show up with power. You show value. You become the person they turn to. And actionable step 3, become the go-to resource. Invest in a coding clinic advisor subscription if you don't have access already. If budget is an issue, talk with your supervisor about a department subscription. Set aside 30 minutes every Monday morning to review new guidance. When your team has Excludes 1 questions, when your CDI specialists need help, when your compliance officer is worried about an audit, you want to be the person they turn to. And you want leadership to see you as indispensable. Because here's the truth, friends, healthcare is changing rapidly. We are starting 2026 out with a bang. Artificial intelligence is here. Automation is increasing. Payer audits are getting more aggressive. But the coders who understand nuance and stay educated, who build systems and advocate effectively, they're not going anywhere. They're the future leaders of health information. So let's bring this all together. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage is enforcing Excludes 1 rules starting February 1st for inpatient claims and March 1st for all claims. Their policy doesn't acknowledge the critical exception in the official ICD-10 CM guidelines that when 2 conditions are unrelated, both can be coded together. This means you need to educate yourself on the exception and the official guidance. Prepare your team, especially CDI, to identify these scenarios early. Document explicitly when conditions are unrelated. Build internal policies that protect your organization. Track denials and appeal with confidence using coding clinic and official guidelines. And remember, this isn't just about this one payer or this one policy. This is about positioning yourself as an expert in an industry that desperately needs expertise. The machines can flag, the algorithms can deny, but they cannot apply clinical judgment. They cannot recognize nuance. They cannot advocate for patients and providers. That's your value. That's your future. And yes, there will be denials. And yes, there will be appeals. But when you're armed with knowledge, when you're prepared with documentation, when you're supported by official guidance, you walk into those situations with confidence. And that confidence, that's what makes you invaluable. So I believe in you. I believe in this profession. And I believe that when we lead with knowledge and integrity, it can all be so simple. Right?
That's right. And we all have to support doctors with their compassionate sacrifice.
We all. All right, friends, here is what I want you to do this week. And I'm going to say these slowly so you can write them down. Number one, download the official guidelines from CMS and read section 1A12 about the excludes notes. That's section 1A12. Write that down. Number two, if you don't have access to Coding Clinic, ask your supervisor about getting a subscription. At minimum, request the specific articles I mentioned today. Again, you can rotate back to get those. Number three, start that conversation with your CDI team about Excludes One query templates. Even if it's an email saying, hey, can we meet for 15 minutes next week? Just to start the conversation. Just take one step, because progress is progress, no matter how small. Okay. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with your coding friends, your CDI colleagues, and your HI department. Again, we're all in this together. And the more we educate each other, the stronger we become. And the Professional Reimbursement Network is here to support you every step of the way. Oh, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Where's my other? Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. So join our community at Professional Reimbursement Network. We provide ongoing education, as you see today, compliance updates, and practical strategies for navigating this complex environment of healthcare revenue cycle. You don't have to figure this out alone. Thirsty for fresh perspectives on the healthcare revenue cycle? Well, by becoming one of the PRNT sippers, you'll join a community of sharp minds who savor the complexities of the healthcare revenue cycle. Why sip alone when you can steep in knowledge together? Come, let's spill the tea on industry insights. And here's what you can expect as a valued member of the Tea Sippers. Exclusive healthcare insights. Gain access to in-depth articles, webinars, and resources covering the latest healthcare trends, compliance updates, and revenue cycle best practices. Early access. Be the first to receive expert insights and guides, ensuring you stay ahead of the ever-evolving healthcare industry. Personalized support. Enjoy direct access to our team of experts for guidance on medical coding, compliance issues, and revenue cycle management. We're here to answer your questions and support your professional growth. And my personal favorite, the community connection. Join a private community of healthcare professionals where we network, share experiences, and collaborate on finding solutions to common challenges. So by supporting us, you're not only advancing your healthcare knowledge and career, but also contributing to the success of the Professional Reimbursement Network, LLC, a resource that empowers healthcare professionals like you to thrive in their roles, goals, and dreams. So thank you for considering becoming a member of the PRNT Sippers. For as little as $1 per month, you can join the community and get the resources. Check out the link in the description of the video. Your support means the world to us, and we look forward to helping you excel in the world of health information and revenue cycle. For our Saturday morning tea family, thank you so much for spending your Saturday morning with us. I know your time is precious and valuable, and we don't take it lightly that you chose to spend it here with us, getting this knowledge, getting this information. At the Saturday Morning Tea, we're all about building a community of savvy, informed, marketable healthcare professionals. So do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let's grow this community together. Mr. Jesse, do you have any closing thoughts?
Document.
Help us help you.
Yes.
Help us help you. Mm, mm. All right. So join us next Saturday for another cup of tea and more coding insights. Yeah, UHC got a bunch of them, and we will talk next week about the foolishness that's happening with some of our modifiers. Yes, that's what we'll talk about next week. Okay, so until then, keep learning, keep coding accurately, and remember your expertise matters. This is Clarice Warner, the girl with the pearls, reminding you that when we lead with knowledge and integrity, we can navigate any challenge. Remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it, work for it. Until next time, take care. Have a great weekend. Oh, and happy Martin Luther King birthday. Enjoy some time off. If hopefully you get the time off. Take the time off if you get it. All right. Talk to you soon. Oh, for my tea sippers, we'll be on in a little bit. You want me to stay on?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Hold on.